Hello everybody, it's Claire from Rosin Consulting, and today I'm reviewing the hybrid monetization and especially the monetization part of AppsFlyer Gaming Report 2024. It's really interesting to see that depending on your genre, the monetization is clearly changing. There is several ways to monetize your game. You can monetize through in-app advertising, in-app purchases, or you can have both. When you have both, you call it hybrid monetization. In AppsFlyer report, what you can see is basically that the puzzle genre is basically starting in Q2 2023 at 47% ads revenue. Historically, puzzle has been really thinking that high qualitative audience with high LTV is the one that is going to monetize your game and also the one that is going to generate the most revenue. What we see in Q1 2024 is actually that 50% of the puzzle games are monetizing with ads. So what does it mean from an industry perspective? First thing, it means that hyper-casual did expand into several genres. We used to have hyper-casual on really simple games that only, have a simple core loop, where you have a really, simple mechanics that don't have a lot of intelligence. Nowadays, it's not the case at all. Like in Q1 2024, hyper-casual made the shift into also casual games. We saw a lot of studios that shifted there and that can still monetize with a really high qualitative games and also a really strong logic with ads. And it's really what we see clearly in the report. While in-app advertising of puzzle games is actually 50%, what we see on hybrid casual games, meaning puzzle games having ads and also in-app purchases, reach 43%. Nowadays, in-app purchase puzzle games having no ads represent only 7%. This is in decline. When we took Q2 2023, what we saw is actually in-app purchases are 9%, meaning from 9 to 7%, advertisers, the biggest one of the industry, understood that ads is also a way to monetize. But how you actually monetize your game with ads when you are a puzzle game? So there is several ways you can do it. Actually, you can do it through ads with rewarded video format, meaning that you have soft currency into your match-3 games, and in order to win even more, for instance, to unlock a booster, the user will need to watch on a video. Those formats are usually either in store, you can have it into your game store, or they are in the user experience. You can have it on your homepage, you can have it also like when you give, basically you have a game and you see like your user is nearly losing, for instance, and offer with a pop-up to watch a video, for instance, to get more move. But you can also have interstitial format, which is something that puzzle has been really afraid to use for actually ages. Interstitial formats are actually used a lot, especially on cards game, and even into the onboarding, and help you a lot to uplift your LTV, especially as their eCPM is quite good. There is several partners that are really good into interstitial, for instance, Integral, or you can use, for instance, Meta, Applovin, so any SDK, RTB that you want to add, and you also have a lot of opportunity of monetization here. So why actually gaming studios have been really afraid to use interstitial and why it is not or less the case nowadays. So interstitial have been seen as really disruptive, especially into the user experience. People feel that when you are playing a game, having an ad just coming up is something that either will make your user install another app or churn. The reality is that it's not as simple as this. I think Felix from 2.5 Gamer show, for instance, some say game placement where it's used, for instance, when the user quit the app and come back, so meaning it's not disruptive at all. And you also have rewarded video format when you quit the app and come back. Depending on where you use it, you can maximize actually the user experience and monetize at the same time your user. Casual games are games with a low CPI. You have hyper casual with an hyper low CPI and casual games that are actually quite a low CPI. You know that the 2% of the whales of your user are actually going to make 80% maybe of your revenue. But what are you doing with the other and the rest of your audience? So you have several options. So the one I mentioned, rewarded video, interstitial, or even banner. Banner is the one that may be the least disruptive at the end of the day because users usually have a really long play time on match-free games, merge games, and seeing those ads, if it's well placed at the end of the day, is not really interruptive into their gameplay. So this is the third thing that you can do to monetize your game. But let's go back into this report made by AppsFlyer. What is actually happening to hyper-casual games? So when we have a look at it, we see that hybrid casual games has always been quite low for hyper-casual games, but of course had in Q2 2023 around 76% EAA ads. But we see in Q1 2024 that hybrid monetization is now 26%. 26% is actually quite high considering that it used to be 19%. This is related to the fact that hyper-casual games decided, because of ATT and the fact that a user that basically doesn't have any data is less expensive than a user with data, to shift into all those in-app purchases and mix their intelligence of ad monetization with in-app purchases. As a result, we see a lot of studios thriving and also being profitable with 50% ads and 50% EAP revenue. So what does it mean? It means that hypercasual may have been the first to understand and master that it's not one way of monetizing user or the other. It's a way of segmentation. It's a way of understanding which monetization is good for which kind of user. And I think this has been forgotten for really long. Think about it. When you have a really low CPI, you are going to have a really big pool of users. Some will churn, some will stay. But a really little pocket at the end of the day are going to do an in-app purchase. Of course, your LTV is always going to be higher with an in-app purchases. In-app purchases is what monetizes the best, short-term, really high revenue that you can get. But long-term, imagine a user that just don't even have like the will to make an in-app purchase payment. I think I personally did really few in-app purchases payments in all the game I have, but I've been monetized a lot through ads, through rewarded video, through banner, through interstitial, through audio ads. This is my user persona. And developer nowadays needs to understand what is the best content for the best user. And this may not be ads, this may not be in-app purchases, this may be a mix of both, depending on the user lifecycle and also the user persona. So, at the end of the day, my ultimate recommendation for you is to have a look at this AppsFlyer report and to check as well all the game genre category depending on your genre. So I started in casino, so I was really curious to have a look at it. Casino ads started at 33% actually ads. I remember when I was at Product Manes, it was actually really early days and really a learning curve to have some ads. Nowadays, it's even less. Like, yes, in-app ads is 26% only. people playing social casino, they like to bet. They have this slot machine where, you know, they always click on the button. And the reality is that ads may not be the good format for them. However, what is changing is that their share of in-app purchases is drastically changing. When it used to be actually 27%, maybe when I was there back in time, is now only 23%. And this is massive because it means that casino games understood that it's not only whales, it's not only VIP. If they want to survive, they need to master hybrid monetization. So nowadays, hybrid monetization is 51% of casino games. It's massive. In Q2 2023, it was 41%. Much less. And it wasn't like 10 years ago. It was in Q2 2023. So adapting your monetization as the landscape is changing is absolutely crucial if you want to survive. So I really advise you to have a look, at least on the monetization side, on AppsFlyer reports, and understand your game category. And rethink your game cycle as well and ways to monetize. I see a lot of developers starting only with, for instance, in-app purchases when they are pre-production. My best advice is to spend in your game also when you feel confident into your monetization. And if you want to appeal different kind of segments, you are not going to have like your VIP that is going to come the first day. You will need to build a brand. If you want to build a brand, you need to have some noise and people speaking about you. If you want people speaking about you, you need to resonate with a really wide audience. If you resonate with a wide audience, then you will have this opportunity to seduce also the VIP and the whales. I can take an example of a social casino actually I worked on. I worked on all the Cashman Casino, Lightning Link, Heart of Vegas, and actually Heart of Vegas is a really good example because what worked the best was actually the Buffalo, and we actually see it in all the creative. It's something working really well. This and the coins machine always going on. What we saw is Big Fish, I think 2-3 years ago, released another game with a Buffalo that actually was much more casual, much more broader audience. And nowadays, this is not only serving an audience and also making people aware that Aristocrat is mastering the Buffalo machine. It's also making people aware that there is actually more than the machine of Buffalo and that people they can actually have an appeal to this, even in smaller games, and get used to it and level up into their gaming journey until the point they get into what is a Buffalo and what is profitable, and maybe, why not, if they like it really much, go into a VIP. So, end of the story is that I wouldn't recommend any studio nowadays to go all in one monetization type. I have several games that are in pre-production right now. I can say that my first advice is to have, yes, EAP that are integrated, of course. I think like your MVP should have your EAP, but also fine-tune when you are crafting your game, your ad monetization journey, because we know that depending of the engagement rate of each placement, and especially when you are crafting your game, your revenue from ads is going to help your scale. So this was my take actually on what I found the most insightful into the AppsFlyer State of Gaming App Marketing 2024. I really advise everyone to have a look. I decided to focus today on always monetization, especially when I saw that hyper-casual hybrid monetization rise at 39%, which is showing a big move for them. But there is actually a lot of other content that can be interesting for you. And if you are interested in me to give my insight into it, don't hesitate to tell me what you're interested in. In all case, you can download the report. It's really easy to do. I will grab the link into the description. Don't hesitate to share any feedback, any comments, any experience, and see you soon in Rosin Society. Bye bye.